Thank you, Linda. Good morning, everyone. In the spirit of starting right from this moment in the quest for the company of the future, I want to say a special welcome and thank you to two groups of people who epitomize the idea of becoming a cool and collaborative company. We have with us, as Linda mentioned, a sampling of people that represents a cross-section, a diagonal slice of BAE Systems with us today in the form of those who are invited especially for the occasion, the so-called lottery winners. Would you all please stand up for a moment so everybody else can see you? Everybody who is special invitees. Please stay up for a minute. And we have a second group with us, which is the class of 2011 of the CEO's leadership program that Linda mentioned. Would you please stand as well so everybody can see you and get to know one another? A round of applause for them as well. Thank you. You may be seated. As you can see by the numbers, about half of the attendees are here for the first time and by special invitation of one kind or another. So in both directions, please enjoy one another's company and make one another feel comfortable. The theme of this conference is the company of the future. As we began to plan and look for speakers and an agenda, I came across an article in January from IBM. It was the first report of their research that they do annually on 1,500 global CEOs. There were a couple of things about that study that stood out for me apropos to the theme of this conference, the company of the future. Firstly, in this study, they differentiated between what they referred to as standout companies of the future versus others. Certain things differentiated the standout companies from the other companies that I wanted to mention to you. In particular, the standout companies, in terms of their leadership, had a very, very key difference between one another. The standout companies were those who were able, in the words of the study, to make quick decisions. The other companies, the also-rans, were those who made thorough decisions. So the ability to be flexible, to welcome diversity, to attract talent, to change, to innovate was crucial to becoming a standout company of the future. Secondly, they also had, in terms of the standout companies, they had an iterative and ongoing strategic planning process, as opposed to those companies that have a once a year, once every 3-year strategic plan that they would create and then it sat on a shelf and was dormant. And the third thing about standout companies, according to this IBM study of global CEOs, was they had a team-based culture. I think that these three elements are going to be crucial to the future. Now, how does this relate to the agenda for the day and the speakers that we're about to hear? What we've done is create a program today that revolves around leaders of the future, that you in this room and those of you who have come long distances will understand the topics that we have selected for you to experience today. They're very personal. They're very related to your ability to lead a company of the future. Topics such as starting with your values, your reputation, the ethical stance that you take, integrity. These are all crucial. The ability to have and develop a global mindset, that's a given. Working with a purpose, a higher purpose, a purpose that supplants simply the profit motive or shareholder value. And lastly, the ability to collaborate and innovate. Tomorrow, we will look more at organizational and external and futuristic issues. As you saw from your program, we have quite an impressive group of speakers today. But there's one speaker we tried to get and couldn't get. And I wanted to just spend a moment to talk about her. Ursula Burns is the CEO of Xerox, and she replaced Anne Mulcahy. Some of you may know more about Anne Mulcahy's career than you do about Ursula. But one of the things about Anne Mulcahy's legacy is that she was able to find her own successor quite well. When I was reviewing some of the hundreds of videotapes for prospective speakers, I came upon this one little video clip. And to me, it epitomizes the essence of this conference. So I'd like you to watch this clip of Ursula Burns being interviewed very recently.
What would you say you've learned from Anne Mulcahy in terms of leadership?
It's all about everybody else. It's so little about you. It's all about the company. It's all about everyone else. And if you take care of that, if you make the company great, if people say, man, this is a great place to work, it's a great place to develop technologies, it's a great place to present value to customers. If you can get those words spoken about your company, then, and about your people being great advocates for the customers, being et cetera, then you can actually become famous. But if you try to become famous, then almost surely it's going to be a disaster. If you want to be associated with greatness, it's about being associated with greatness, not about being great. Right? So the thing I learned from her is that you got to keep your eye on what's important here.
So if you want to be associated with greatness, it's important that you associate with greatness and you not settle for less, and you do that as a team and as a culture.